and welcome to our author chat today. And today I am chatting with author Beck Grey, and we are so excited to have you here on our Indie Audiobook Deals channel. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining me.
Appreciate being asked. Happy to be
Yes,
here.
perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions so we can find out a little bit more about your audiobooks and what you write about and where we can find them, and we will go from there.
Great.
Okay. So first of all, why don't you just tell me how long have you been an author? What genres do you write? And tell me how many books you've written.
I've been a published author since 2021. I published my first indie book uh, called Save Me, which was the first in my Love in the Pacific Northwest series that I'm writing. Um, my genre is contemporary LGBTQ romance, and I'm currently editing my fifth book, which will come out in the fall.
Okay, great. Do you have a release date set yet, or is it just sometime in the fall?
It will be probably around Thanksgiving weekend.
Great. Okay, so by the end of the year, you'll have 5 published books. That's very
Right.
exciting. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, good. So tell me, so why do you write in this LGBTQ genre? What do you enjoy about it? What made you start writing in that genre? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I got into writing via fan fiction, which, a lot of people are like, oh my God. But then there's a whole bunch of us who are like, yay, fan fiction.
Right.
Um, it's a great place to cut your teeth and learn what works and what doesn't work in writing. The immediacy of the feedback is the best teacher in the world. Um, and that's where I was introduced to LGBTQ fiction. As a member of the community, it was so incredible to find because mainstream, it wasn't out there at the time. This
Sure.
was many, many years ago. Um, and it was nice to find the community of writers who were also queer, who were also wanting to put these positive stories out there. And that's really where I landed, was in the positive end of things. I don't write angsty, um, coming to terms with being queer or, homophobia. In my stories, that's all
It's all established
non-existent.
already.
You know,
Yeah,
it exists because it's contemporary. There are people out there who are, have those opinions.
sure.
They mostly don't make it into my stories.
Right.
Um, these are truly happily ever afters, finding your person or people, um, and just being able to be who you truly are and be loved for that. And that was very important because we don't see a whole lot of that. We're just now starting to see that in mainstream slightly. But then
Right.
on the other end, you have everything else going on in the world with that. And, we need that balance. We need that positivity. And I like to be that voice.
That's so great. And I mean, everybody loves a happy ending. I mean, as long as they, you write identifiable characters and people that everyone can relate to and root for. So that's so nice to hear. So anyone watching, if you love contemporary romance, it sounds like this is an author for you, which is great. So we all love that. I love HEAs, right? We all love our happy endings.
Right.
So that
Right.
is,
You got to have it.
yes, that's so nice to hear. Okay, so tell me, so since this is the Indie Audiobook Deals channel and we love all things audiobooks here, tell me a little bit about your narrators and, or narrator or narrators and sort of, about your audiobooks. Are they solo narrated, duet narrated? Tell me about that.
So mine are solo narrated. Um, Quite honestly, the duets and the dual narrated can be very pricey.
So pricey, right? I mean, they do such a good job, so it's like they do great, but man, it is expensive.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm still dipping my toe in the audiobook world. I am an audiobook fiend. 95 to 98% of my book consumption is audiobook.
Love it.
And it's just it was a need for me, whether or not, people will say, well, it's not financially feasible right now to get into that. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Because I know there are other people out there who adore audiobooks and won't consume ebooks or paperbacks because they don't have time or
Right.
because of physical limitations or whatever. So audiobook was absolutely on my radar from day one. My first book was narrated by John Curtis, who did an amazing job. And I mean, I like it. It's my book.
Yeah.
But the second book, I went with Gary Furlong because at that point I had very much consumed quite a bit of LGBTQ romance fiction, which is what I read and what I write. So yay me.
Yeah.
Um, but Gary, I just loved his voice and the energy that he brings to the characters. And I thought, well, why not see if he can narrate the book? And he had time. And so I got in with him and he did such an amazing job on Embrace Me. And that came out in April
Okay.
on audio. And
Great.
he's currently right now, this week, recording my third book, Choose Me, which should be out next month by the time it goes through production and
Yeah.
quality, and I proof it, and so yeah, another one coming out next month that I'm so excited to get to.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats on that.
thanks.
Yeah, it's great. I'm like you. I'm a huge audiobook dork, huge, and I love to consume audiobooks. And I just never, just like you, I just never wanted to wait to make my books into audiobooks. So it's so nice to meet another audiobook dork. That's what I call myself.
Hey, yeah, it did
Right?
it.
Yeah. And there's so many people out there like us who just love to listen. I mean, it's just the way, people want to consume your work in different ways. So it's nice to offer them all the different platforms. So that's great. That's really great to hear.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, so out of all of your characters, what is one character that you think the listener or the reader will gravitate toward the most, and why?
Well, I have two actually. One is in the current book that just came out and Embrace Me. That is a story about a hearing main character and a deaf with a capital D character. He is part of the deaf community. He is immersed in deaf culture, and it's fascinating, at least to me.
Ah,
And watching that dynamic and learning about both cultures from somebody else's perspective. And Tig is the name of the character who is deaf. And a lot of people aren't familiar with it, but they gravitate there because it is so unique. It is new. So that's one. My other one is coming out in the next book, who is Jules, and he is profoundly socially anxious. And a lot of people really relate to him because we all at some point feel the anxiety.
sure.
But somehow in the writing and reading community, we have a lot of anxious people. And I get so many comments from readers who are like, this is me. I so identify with Jules,
Oh,
I've done that or I felt that. And it's really rewarding to have that feedback
yes.
that, okay, I got that right. Mostly because, Jules is that socially anxious portion of my personality.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
kind of a little bit of a self-insert there, but
Why not? I mean, it's so nice to be able to connect with readers that way. And it's true. I mean, all of us, especially since the pandemic, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of you're anxious and then you're also just kind of isolated and you're trying to get back out there and it's awkward. I mean, I'm someone who'll chat someone's ear off, but I found that after having to go back out and not being around people for a while, it's like you really have to get used to it again. So
yeah.
it's nice to write a character like that people can relate to and find
And for
themselves.
those of us that are introverts anyway, I mean, like, I'm very comfortable behind my screens.
Sure,
And
right?
I can chat away, and and I'm better at Zoom because there's still that wall. Uh,
Absolutely.
in person, by myself, in a room full of people I don't know, I'm the one in the corner with the dogs and the kids, you
Sure.
know,
Sure.
like,
You're like, I'm here, just make my needs me. And hey, that's okay. That's okay. It's yeah, it's right, especially for writers, right? We're all, I mean, I always say I'm an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert, but like either way, like I think writers we all have that a little bit of that where we're just very comfortable right here, you
right,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So that's okay. So those sound like two awesome characters. And it's nice to hear that your readers and your listeners reach out and tell you how much they relate to them. That's really cool.
And if you are a reader, please reach out to the authors, because that feeds us.
Yes, we love to hear that, don't we? I mean, I think sometimes readers they get scared or anxious that, oh, I don't know if they'll what they'll think. And you're
I
absolutely
don't
right.
want to bother them. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Yeah,
bother
reach out
us.
anytime because it is, yeah, it's a very solitary job. And we're happy to talk to anyone who wants to reach out to us and tell us, especially that they like our books, right?
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
really.
So that's we'll take that. So anytime. Good point. Okay, so lastly, just to wrap up here, I just want to know sort of tell me where people can find you. Do you have a website? Where are you on social media? And also tell me which audiobook. If I'm a first time listener of yours, so if I want to come and my next listen is yours, where should I go? Where should everyone watching go to find that audiobook to start with?
You can absolutely find me all over social media. I have a website, www.beckgrey.com. Very simple, Gray spelled with an E. And it's got links to all my socials, all my books. I've got a direct store off of my website that you can
Great.
get audiobooks from and paperbacks from. At this point, I still am exclusive to KU with the ebooks. But I'm wide on audiobooks, so they're all over all the
Everywhere.
platforms. I'm through Findaway Voices, and they basically plaster it everywhere, which is fantastic.
That's great. And which one should I start with? What's the one you would say that's the best to start with to start everyone on your catalog?
So truly, I know people say this all the time, and sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not. My books, it's a series because it's a group of friends, and they do like make cameo appearances in each other's books, but you don't need to have read any of the other books to read any of the books. They are very much
Great.
standalones. So you can pretty much start anywhere you want. And I love all of my books. They're like my children.
Of course.
And you're not supposed to have favorites, but we
Well,
so right now, Embrace Me is the one I'd say start with, just because Tig's in that book, and I
sure.
like his character. And then when Choose Me comes out, I probably would push that one because that's Jules and he's my baby. So
Great. Okay, so those are two good ones to start with. Yeah, I mean, your characters sound amazing, so I'm excited to
thanks.
listen. And it's nice to have standalones. I mean, I write in series, but like some can be read as standalone, some can't. You're right, you never know. But it's nice because sometimes, for example, a Hoopla and Libby, sometimes they'll have one of your titles, but they won't have another one. So it's nice to be able to
Right.
kind of anywhere. So
Yeah.
okay, well, that is good to know. I'm excited to listen to your books. Everyone watching, please make sure you go to Beck's website and check out their books. And they sound amazing. And I'm author Rebecca Hefner here, just chatting with the authors on the Indie Audiobook Deals channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day.